Right, well, Trups isn't here yet, so it's just going to be me for the moment. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Political Recap. Yeah, let's call it that. As I stated, Trups is late, fashionably late. He's not only doing his makeup, he's putting on lingerie, he is getting an enema. I don't know why. He's basically doing everything he should be doing to be a good little bitch, cuck, beta, all of those. And I'm live, yes I am. As Trups isn't here, I'm just going to talk to you guys for a bit and address one article that's not related really politics-wise. But I thought I'd do it because I don't want to make a video on this, but I do want to talk about it because it pisses me off. So before I do that, where's the chat? There it is. Making himself pretty for you. Yes, he is. Good evening to Furry Kitten, to myself, Any Jake, Paul, Ashley, Prospero, Michael, Discnar, Teddy, Joe. Hello everyone. Oh, and Dibula, and Miss Jamie. Yes. Hello everyone. Spoken like a pro. Why is it buffering on my end? I'm going to pretend that's like, yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah, so the first thing I'm going to go through on, well, we wait for, you know, oh, it was buffering. Right, we're going to go to this because I saw this, it pissed me off. I thought it was a joke at first. I thought, oh, the Daily Mail's fallen for a Poe. But after doing a little digging, no, it's not a joke. Yeah. There's even a video, which I guess we could look at quickly. Let's have a look. Oh, blimey, that full screened. That's not helping. It's all in foreign. Oh, wait, why is it? Oh god, I can hit the next track. Hang on.
I'm Arwa Sohanpurwala, aged 44 years, a practicing chartered accountant for the last 20 years. I've been juggling between my family life, professional life, and raising my two lovely daughters. Being a Dowdy Bora woman myself, I have undergone cuffs. And
genital mutilation is cuffs. It's like right there. By the way, this couldn't have, if she was Indian, this couldn't have been more cliche.
I do not recall any kind of pain or trauma or inhibitions associated with it.
You don't suppose that's because you blacked out from the agony, do you? You don't suppose you didn't really know the decision that was being taken on your behalf, do you? I mean, that's one of the main arguments. It's not just because it's something that is truly barbaric, but it's also something that denies a child their own agency to make an informed decision for themselves. If an adult wants to have their genitals mutilated for whatever bullshit reason they want to, they as an adult can make that informed decision. I personally don't think it should be allowed, but I'm not going to stop an adult. But when an adult decides to do something like that to a baby, or to a child, adolescent, anyone really, on anyone else's behalf, I generally take issue. Medically, there is a reason for this. Not in this context. There can be medical reasons to have surgery done on one's genitals. But this is not one of those cases, is it? It is a religious practice that does not have a place in any part of the world. Yeah, no. The video, I mean, I'm willing to give it a bit more time, but fuck it.
In fact, I have a quiet sense of reassurance that I have followed my religious right and belief.
Your religion is several hundred years behind the rest of the world, which is why people like me look down upon you and treat you with disdain. You're well within your right, as you say, your religious right to practice your faith. But if your faith partakes in an act that does not conform to the rest of society's own laws and moral standards, which typically are enshrined in law to begin with, based on how morality typically pushes law in certain directions, then you are breaking the law. So I thought I'd just add that.
My daughters have also undergone cuffs.
I'm sorry to hear that. 2 more people being deprived of something, and having an unnecessary surgery for bullshit reasons. Am I right to assume it was your husband's razor blade that did it?
and they're growing up as...
Oh, bloody hell, you're here.
Oh, yes, I am. My apologies to everyone and yourself.
Okay, I'm just finishing up a video, so be quiet for a minute.
perfectly normal children of their age. As a mother, I would have never done anything to harm them.
But you allowed them to do this to your children. This is not parent. In fact, I hereby declare you, cliche telecom lady, customer service no less. I bet, while you are a devout Muslim, and I'm sure your name is somewhere around here, I bet you tell people your name is... What's a generic girl's name? Trups, help me.
Deborah.
Deborah. Yes. Muslim lady. Deborah.
Unfortunately now,
I just thought they all sounded like...
circumcision has been misinterpreted as a...
Sorry, you don't get nice Trups today. Everyone gets frustrated Trups today.
For the next 2 minutes, we get silent Trups, though, because I'm finishing a video. Sorry.
Which is absolutely not the case. As it is said in our terminology, that tax planning is healthy and should be practiced.
Fuck this shit, I'm done with it. Look, your prophet, the final prophet, your prophet partook in this act, and this is why you consider it so holy and devout, and why you must do it. Fuck off. He just wanted easier access. It's become this ceremony. Get fucked. We're beyond this now, where this should be acceptable. I don't stand for any of it, so quite frankly, it's all absolutely insulting that you'd still be doing this shit. Anyway, I got that out of my system. There is more to that. I might link it in the description afterwards. Why is every single tab I have buffering? You can unmute yourself now, Trups. Trups? Trups?
Yes, here.
Oh.
Hello.
Say hello to everyone, Trups.
Hello, everyone, Trups.
Yes. I figured I'd just cover something that was on my mind and niggling while... FGM is not in the Quran. It is not. But because it is told as one of the stories of Muhammad, something he actually did himself at one point, unfortunately, it is something that crops up and is seen as a very Islamic thing, an Islamic practice, because of the Prophet and the desire to get closer to one's Prophet. It is an annoying argument and it pisses me off, and yes, by our standards, the Prophet was in fact a paedophile. So how you been, Trups?
Oh, dude, work has been running me absolutely ragged, and you know, it's one of those things that you kind of have to just, you know, bite the bullet and go for it, because that's how life works. But god damn.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to push too much on that. I've already told them you were doing your makeup, buying lingerie, and getting an anime.
Yeah, I saw that.
Good.
But that means that you get a much more animated and no shits, you know, no shits taken trust for these wonderful articles.
Yeah, I can tell in the tone of your voice that hasn't changed at all. Okay. Did you want to take start? I've got a video from NBC. I'm going to link it to you so that you can see it at the same time. Yeah. Where they where they talk briefly about the initial what happened. I figured we'd play that and then talk about what happened with Kavanaugh. Okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so I'll switch to this scene and press play.
Tonight's Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh firing back against that secretive accusation of sexual misconduct, saying, "I categorically and unequivocally deny this allegation. I did not do this back in high school or at any time."
I fully expect NBC to give me a copyright strike.
I would be surprised if they did. It's so much effort.
Honestly, LBC are probably the worst for it, but I'd add NBC to the list if they did.
Over an incident that allegedly took place more than 30 years ago, spelled out in a letter given to top Democrat Dianne Feinstein weeks ago.
Count. This isn't angry Trups. This is frustrated.
Okay, the letter that was given to Feinstein, is that who it is? Right. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it is.
So she was given this letter, and I saw yesterday I watched Matt Christensen cover it. she was given that letter a while ago. She sat on it.
Oh yeah, since like July.
Okay, now colour me a fool here, but July isn't next to September, is it? I mean, there's a month before. There is a month before that. There must be a month before July and September.
Indeed.
Huh. She had it for what could argue to be 3 months, and only a week before he was being voted for. Is that how it goes? Yeah.
The vote on the confirmation. Yeah.
Vote for confirmation, right? And then it comes out, which I'll finish off this. I've 22 seconds in so far into this 1 minute 30 thing, so I figured I'd just press play and keep going a little bit longer.
New York Times citing 3 people familiar with the letter, reporting it says Kavanaugh and a male friend trapped a teenage girl in a bedroom during a high school party. Kavanaugh allegedly got on top of the teenager and put a hand over her mouth before she freed herself and left the room.
There is more to this. I'm now pausing at 37 seconds. There is a comment below that referenced the girls that were in the same year as Kavanaugh, and every single one of them supports him over this accuser. Maybe they're Uncle Tom's, I don't know.
No, I don't think so. It's very hard to get a group of girls to rally behind you. I don't know how long it's been since you've been in high school, but do you remember if anybody ever got into the wrong group of friends? You know, if you ever got...
Seriously, half my life. Yeah, we leave secondary school at 16.
Oh, I got you. So, I mean, you would know that if you ever pissed off the wrong group of people, then everyone would always, know you and not give you any kind of credit.
See that I would agree. Okay, so I do get it, but I was the invisible kid. I was never noticed. Let's go with that. I was easy to disappear. That makes more sense. I think it's appropriate where my name comes from. It kind of makes sense in hindsight, because I genuinely was easily forgotten, which is good, because I hated every single one of those cunts. Pressing play.
Tonight, that friend telling the Weekly Standard, "It's just absolutely nuts. I never saw Brett act that way." Feinstein revealing the letter's existence Thursday, saying she gave the information.
Right, so she revealed the letter on Thursday. That was last week, yes?
Yep.
Yeah. With the timing of this, and I'm going to stop with this video now, I'm done with it. Would you say that it is intended to... It's intended... Omegon's a ninja, confirmed. Yes, I am. And I doubt they notice me now, because... yeah, no. Probably not. Do you think it was intended to derail the nomination because they had nothing else, or what?
You know, it's hard to say that it was anything but that, considering that she had it for so long, and then the moment she decides to, release it is the eve of his vote. There's very little to leave to the imagination as to what the intention was behind releasing it at that time.
See, obviously this is American politics. I've been watching my own crap right now. I haven't been able to give this much attention, but the first thing I think when I see this, you of course, if anyone has a rape claim against someone, okay, this one I believe falls well outside the statute of limitations. I believe this falls outside.
I mean, that's another story entirely, and we'll get into that in a second.
Okay, yeah, okay. So my thought at first was if it fell outside of that, then that's one problem. The second is because of how it's perceived, because it is optics now. How it's perceived, it does seem like a very petty attempt to derail Trump in the long term. Kind of like the big deal made out of the FBI not turning over the information unredacted, which I'm sure, now that I've remembered it, we'll now talk about later. Because fucking hell,
yep,
that's a disobeying. That's bad.
It's just savagery all over the place.
Yeah, yeah. Why was not in the chat? Teddy put it right. Why was nothing said for 36 years? So I actually have a point I want to make now. In the BBC, in the United Kingdom, the BBC, for over 25 years, shielded a paedophile. We know this. They shielded them, and we know they did to the point where victims didn't come forward because they were afraid. And I understood it. In hindsight, I understand it. For those who don't know, the man's name it'll always be Jimmy Savile, and he was renowned for his charity work. He was renowned for his presenting work and radio work, and for being obsessed with his mother, which was just a bit weird. But he touched kids. He did bad things to kids, and the BBC protected him, which is one of the many reasons I want them sold off. Because fuck me, why the fuck should I pay for something that would actually protect a paedophile to protect their image when the first thing they should do is get rid of him, out him, and then wash their hands of him? I understand why some don't come forward. So in this case, because I don't know enough about, what's her name? I've got it written down. Give me a second.
Ford.
Christine Blasey Ford, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if there is any legitimacy to it, I can understand why, but at the same time, it's not the same context. He was a nobody for a while, so she should have gone forward straight away. So why she didn't baffles me. I don't know if maybe it was at the time she was thinking, oh well, it was just a bit of fun, a slap and tickle. Wait, did I consent? I don't understand. I do have a few articles. I will link a couple to you. What do you think about the statute of limitation thing?
Okay, so for the state of Maryland, statute of limitations, let's say for the context, if this is a 35 to 36 years, hold on.
That's okay, I'm just linking you articles.
I have the thing up here.
I'm just linking you articles while you do that.
For sexual assault, I believe it's within the first, I think it's either 3 to 6 years until the minor becomes of age.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure. So with that, then yeah, you had until about, what was that? This is 36 years ago. You had about till the 80s to make this this claim.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure she didn't go see a psychologist about it until 2008 or 2009.
Yeah, I just want to quickly address something. Dibula made something I didn't realize. Actually, that's a very good point. That people should be investigating Feinstein for holding on to this. She should. There's no denying that, and we might get onto that a bit more later. Carry on.
So if that's the case, if the statute of limitations has run out on sexual assault, because based on the letter we know that the rape wasn't actually carried out, even if the accusations were true.
Mm-hmm.
The words that it would be sexual assault, and according to, oh god, I just lost the page.
Wasn't it called aggravated sexual assault or something?
You'd have to argue why the difference, but I mean.
Oh no, it was mentioned in the sexual misconduct. That's what it.
That's even a less.
Yeah, it's basically that was what Yeah, okay, so allegation of sexual misconduct from more than 30 years ago that was made in a letter given to Senator Dianne Feinstein. So I don't know if the charge itself or accusation has changed. I know that different media sources have called it rape. Some have called it, well, sexual misconduct. Some have called it aggravated sexual whatever. It's all alleged, because what do we have to go on? We have a letter and literally nothing else. It is a case of Me Too. That's what it sounds like. Listen and believe, and I don't want to do that. Yeah. Sorry, I've derailed you again. I apologise for that.
That's okay. What's odd is that rape in the first degree and rape in the second degree, according to Maryland's state law, it says there's no time limit for prosecution of any felony sexual offenses, according to a court case, Smallwood versus the state of Maryland. And prosecution for the felony may be instituted any time during the life of the offender. Now, for misdemeanors, in principle, this is from the Maryland Code of Conduct and Judicial Procedure 5-106. I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
In principle, within 1 year after commission of the offense, no time limit for prosecution of misdemeanors punishable by penitentiary, and for prosecution of sexual offense in the fourth degree by an offender in position of authority within 3 years after commission of the offense.
Right.
And for minors, it's up to 7 years of the date the victim attains the age of the majority, so 18.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So wasn't Kavanaugh underage as well at the time?
He was.
So
maybe he might have been 19 at the very least.
I think most people agree he was a minor as well. I'm confused now. Does it count as if both people are underage? Doesn't it count as not even slightly rape-ish? Oh, God,
so you could argue that.
Sorry.
You could argue that if Kavanaugh was underage at the time, that if they had prosecuted it at the time, he would have been. The prosecution would have had a choice to charge him as a minor or as a adult. For this, they would have had a different kind of a court proceeding.
Mm-hmm.
If he was 19 and she was 17, because they have 2 years in difference of age, then you may have a more severe consequence. But even still, even that does not account for the 35 years that have been wasted.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused. I have a question, and this one I'm really curious about, and I had to Google as well because I really want to know. Why did Donald Trump select Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court?
Because Kavanaugh has a history of, one, working with the White House, working with very tough decisions, and Kavanaugh as a judge had a history of yielding to precedent, and with a strict interpretation of the Constitution.
Yeah, is a
telltale.
Yeah, I mean, his position. I've got a quote here, and I'll put it up on the screen for everyone to see. It's taken from New Yorker. He has a strong record of ruling against regulations, notably environmental ones. So that's, it's a big plus to a lot of people who aren't really fond of the environment. His position opposing gun control goes significantly beyond an embrace of the court's controversial ruling in Heller that there is an individual right to bear arms. Those who Trump calls the Second Amendment people can rest easy with Kavanaugh. Being constrained by government failure to contest the premise that the guy... Oh, right, a right to abortion stuff, so that's... Yeah. Let's see. Ruled in the case of Garza v. Hagen with the minority in favour of the Trump administration and against an undocumented minor who was trying to get an abortion in Texas. Oh, wow, he does actually fall somewhat in line with a number of positions or reproductive rights related comments as well. I'll link this to you.
Well, the reason why that one pops up in particular is because he wrote a dissenting opinion regarding a situation, because I actually watched the hearings, or listened to them rather. He wrote a dissenting opinion because he believes that, according to a Texas state law that, or rather a Texas court case that had been held, there was a judge that ruled that a guardian should be consulted before a minor would go through the situation, because that ends up being, in terms of counseling and advice, something that is overall was found to be very beneficial for the minor in question at the time.
Oh, I know what
a lot of people had issues with it.
Sorry, I just realised my mind that's being gay. Bit torrent was running in the background. I turned that off. Sorry about that. I was seeding some things. Continue.
I understand.
My apologies.
So the Texas court case did hold that guardians are important. Now the Texas Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court, did give the minor in question judicial access to pursue an abortion, but he merely wrote a dissent remarking on a different precedent that it was worthwhile for her to do it, and that
actually,
he would have.
It's actually referenced in the article. There's a quote where it talks about abortion on demand and the idea that a teenage girl, any girl, and maybe any woman might not know how to make a momentous life decision if left to their own devices. So it is mentioned in the New Yorker article, which I am going to link in the chat. I've just disappeared the chat. Fuck it. I need to go and get the chat back. Okay, so back on to Kavanaugh then. when this came out, how come there wasn't, you know, like some kind of arrest or investigation announced straight away or anything?
So unlikely, even though in the era of the Me Too movement, where everybody's accusation is taken full force by the public and mob rule wins, in this case, the situation was a little hazy. So the letter came out, and at first it was anonymous, and people were like, "Excuse me, you can't make this anonymous, because in our Constitution we have something that is the right to face your accuser."
Yeah.
Basically, if you go to court, you have a right to face, or
you've got to make sure
see
that
the
person stands by their
who accused
convictions, and actually is willing to say it. And that's actually an interesting point, because now I get to mention. Where is it? Nope, that's Trump. Right, no, that's an investigation that Kavanaugh's asked for. Okay, there was an article, and I don't remember where it is. I'll have to find it and link it in the description afterwards. Where Christine Blasey Ford's legal team or something said that they would only testify if in fair conditions. Now, I was watching an old video that always makes me chuckle, where Sargon was reaming Spino, and in it he showed a clip of Spino debating Matt Christensen about whether it is racist to profile certain types of people in settings. And the comment of, the question Spino asked was, is it fair? And then he asked his question about racial profiling. Now, in this context, and it's the same thing, what is fair? What is it? Is it something that benefits you, which is entirely what you want? You want the terms to be strongly in your favour, so that Brett Kavanaugh is put in the most uncomfortable position? Or is fair where there is common ground found? Or is it fair when it is done in a totally neutral way, which is done legally, where no one gets shit?
Well, that's the problem, though, because of course the answer would be in a total neutral setting.
Yeah, it has to be
but
legally.
That would be inherently unfair to a person who's making an accusation 35 years later.
Especially when the accusation has so little to go on. Because, and this is one of those wonderful things about hearings of any kind. Once the prosecution starts asking you questions, their job is to poke a hole. To make the hole, and make that hole so big that nothing else can stick to it. And that's
more or less, yeah.
And if your accusation is just this, from this letter that was held on for so long, your credibility is already shot. Your credibility's been shot by 30-odd years. And if this did happen, of course I'd want Brett Kavanaugh to be done. But unfortunately, you've put it in such a very awkward position. And I say this to Christine mostly. You've put this in such a difficult position that it just looks like the DNC have run out of ideas and are now doing the most childish thing possible, and either you're a scapegoat built on a lie and will then become a scapegoat stroke celebrity on a lie, or you're right. No, that's it really.
Now it gets even more complicated when you consider actually what Teddy just mentioned, the fact that there is no evidence.
No evidence, yeah.
So they've called upon an FBI investigation, but here's the thing: what the hell are they going to investigate? They can't question witnesses. Every witness that they have pulled thus far says that didn't happen, or they don't remember it.
Yeah.
And there's no crime scene to investigate. There's no clothes to look for. There's no, hair on the blouse era Bill Clinton's scandal that's going to end up happening.
Yeah. A number of people have said this is just the Democrats obstructing everything they can because they just don't know it's like a Hail Mary for them. Because that
yeah.
And I'm sorry, I know that I when I was pulling up, when I had the little time to look at articles this evening, I specifically typed Brett Kavanaugh rape case into Google, and some of them were saying, this is what the right wing is saying, and this is what the Democrats are saying. The right wing are basically making excuses that stem around the phrase, boys will be boys. But I haven't heard that term used once in this.
No, not at all.
It sounds like, and I'm not. Oh, it's so disappointing. You can't support. I don't support character assassination. I really don't. but there is nothing about this that screams factual. I'm having to pull out. I pulled out my skepticism badge. I can't see anything that would make this believable. And I don't know much about Brett Kavanaugh. I really don't, because I've got my own shit to deal with.
I mean, the thing is, you know, especially with the girls that have signed the petition saying that Brett Kavanaugh is likely not the person at all who did it. Somebody else, a friend of hers, actually came out and said it's very likely that she misidentified Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I know someone's going to say, oh, 30 years doesn't mean, you know, that, you know, she's forgotten, but once...
yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I say this as somebody who comes from an age where digital was just starting to come in. People just don't remember shit because technology didn't exist. We didn't have anything to work with. Now we're in an age where, honestly, smartphones everywhere. I'm not trying to make... I don't want to be seen as making excuses in case it seems like I'm defending in case... Or I'm just sounding like that because I might be one of those MRA misogynist fucks, but I'm not. I'm just a misogynist.
I'm a misandrist. I hate everything.
I wanted to
everything
go with
and everyone.
Well, then you'd do well in the Holy Hand Grenade Third Baptist Church of Moistianity.
Ah, well, thank you.
I'll send you your golden chip in the post.
Oh, fantastic.
It'll be moist. With this case, and I have pulled up so many articles for this, I read most of them. Some were pointing out that it was just days before the Senate Judiciary Committee was set to vote on the Supreme Court nomination. And it says that Christine Blasey Ford came forward. Well, no, she didn't. Weinstein did. With a letter that nobody knew anything about. In fact, the moment he was nominated, she should have come forward straight away. If she truly wants to derail Trump, she shouldn't have left it to the last minute. Unless she doesn't want a constitutionalist, I guess that's what you want to call. Is that what you call them? People who do that?
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at Prospero fixing what I said. Misanthrope, not misandrist. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm very, very sorry.
Oh well, I have on my Discord server, Prospero. I actually have a group called the Man Hater Women's Club. Trups would fit in really well there.
I guess that's where I go.
Yeah, it is.
It works with the Discord name Trump.
It does.
Yeah.
But with and this is why it's just so fishy. If he'd been nominated and she had the letter, she should have just gone public with that letter so the investigation could be done, and therefore the nomination would be derailed from the offset. But leaving it so late makes it seem like they had no ideas, they held on to it, and then thought, fuck it. Let's just... you know what it was? It was the Leroy Jenkins moment. It was, fuck this, let's do this. And just go for it.
For real, they got nothing else. Like, they tried to stall it out at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work out. They tried to employ protesters to disrupt the meeting. Didn't work out. Yeah. They tried to bring up documents. Didn't work out. They tried having somebody release classified committee confidential information. Didn't work out. And then suddenly, at the last-ditch effort, oh, by the way, sexual allegation. That's always worked for us in the past. Let's try that one.
Yeah, it's not good. It's disturbing. I will pull up one more related article for this. No, not that one. Okay, so there is an article on Fox. So whether you believe it or not, of course, it's an opinion. It's not a like a fact. It says opinion on it. So take it any way you want. Oh god, there's a fucking Hillary video. The title is Hillary Clinton when asked about bill accusations and due process. Take each case on its own merits. Well, of course you'd say that. Here we go. The nomination... you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let you read it.
Oh, can you send it to me first?
I have. It's called Why Did Christine Blasey Ford Wait So Long? I'll Tell.
Ah, yes, I see it now.
Cool. While you do that, I'm going to go and read... Oh, no, I can't read the fucking checks in the same fucking window!
Alright, I got it. The nomination of Judge Brett Kavanaugh seemed all but certain a few days ago, until a woman named Christine Blasey Ford came forward accusing him of sexual assault when they were in high school. The alleged crime, having taken place decades ago, has prompted many to ask, why did she wait so long? Well, I can tell you why. In a word, fear.
Yeah, this is... Okay, before you continue, this is what I called earlier. Many would assume this to be the case, and there is precedent for it having been a reason given as to why many haven't in certain circumstances, depending on how powerful the person that they wanted to accuse but couldn't accuse was. So it does depend. Continue.
In my freshman year of college, I was the victim of something quite similar, anecdotal.
Yeah.
On my 18th birthday, I understood why Dr. Ford remained silent. She was afraid that no one would believe her. After all, she had been drinking.
Wait, doctor?
Can you believe yourself?
Doctor?
Yes, she is a doctor of psychology.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, go figure, right?
I'm not. Me and psychologists don't get on very well. I made my last one cry.
Oh, psychologists actually work pretty well for me. They give me drugs.
I just make them cry.
That's okay. Fear if it went to court, her sex life would be revealed. Oh, what a shame.
Sex shaming.
Yeah, for real.
I bet we find those kinks like, you're into a little cunnilingus, are you? Right.
Oh, yes. That kinky eating out, yes, of course. you know what's if DJ Khaled won't do that with his lady?
Dude,
DJ...
you know, maybe she just had some really bad food.
Yeah, man, that bad puss.
It's not for me, but not. I mean, the food part, not. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just. You know, he's a bit of a dick for that.
Yeah, there is use a bit of dick for that. Let me just take that off, and then here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Continue.
Fear she would be judged.
Well, of course. I'm sorry. No. We don't go any further than that. Fear she would be judged. I'm sorry. You waited all this time, and then went public with it at the very moment he was at his most public. I'm sorry. How are you never going to... The only way you would not have been judged is if you never came forward. Is if you went forward before he became fucking judge. Before he went to college. That's the only way...
Can I also point out the...
Go on.
Can I also point out the irony that fear if it went to court, she would be judged. That's what fucking happens in court.
I mean, okay, so fear if it went to court, her sex life would be revealed. Who gives a fuck? Okay, Milady, and I was telling Christina Prime this the other day, and it made her really uncomfortable, and it was funny as fuck. Think about this. Okay, so there's a guarantee in life, right? You meet someone, you shake their hand, right? There's a guarantee that person has masturbated with that hand. Oh no, your sex life is revealed. Some people anyway. But it doesn't, it doesn't matter. You fucked. Someone stuck it in you. You stuck it in them. Who gives a shit? If someone committed a crime against you, why are you so interested in preserving modesty over integrity? Seriously.
I don't know. It's something about.
It's very old. It's such an old. You know, it's very. I want to use the word prude, but it isn't. But it does seem like that.
It's like an old world kind of sentiment that women shouldn't ever mention their sex lives.
But it doesn't stack up to any intellectual scrutiny once you realise. But you brought it forward a few days before his nomination.
Oh yeah, hindsight, it's bad.
Come on. You have leg to stand on, you have none. Fear you'll be judged. Fear her name will be dragged through the mud. So
but you know what? I'm looking at this article right now, and this is the next statement is the one that pisses me the fuck off.
Well, the next paragraph?
Rape and sexual assault are the most underreported crimes in our nation. How do you know?
Yeah, that's a That's an argument Lena Dunham has used a number of times, and then someone showed her the number of cases that were false, and she was like, "Oh yeah, but it's only a small number." I'm sorry. You can't discount things that have been proven, but bleat on about things that are unconfirmed. You can't confirm it. It is at best it's a theory. It's not an argument. Yeah. This is hilarious. This is actually defending with nothing. I'm sorry. I still love Fear. She would be. I should have done a video on this one alone. Fear her name would be dragged through the mud, and she's not alone. Yeah. I want to focus on the Fear her name. It's just all so fucking stupid. It really is. You have to be a retard.
It's so bad. It's just. It looks like every statement is just another play on the reader. So freshman year, I was a victim. Yeah. She was afraid no one would believe her. It
was appeal to emotion. It's a simple bunch of everything. It's all fallacy. The bit underneath, remaining silent doesn't mean forgetting. It just means suffering in silence. You know what that means to me? First of all, that sounds like a quote from a song, I think. But also, it sounds like you've just listened and believed. That's what you've done.
You know what else? It says to me one thing. It says remaining silent doesn't mean forgetting. It just means suffering in silence. You know what it means? Don't be silent, and you won't have to suffer in silence.
You have to trust the system, and I know a lot of people don't like hearing that. Oh, sorry. Thank you to the young nasty man for the £4.44. Very kind of you. Oh, fuck it. Yeah, you have to trust the system to protect you and serve you. That's the point. Justice can only come from acting as soon as possible. Certainly, even then, when this supposedly happened, there would have been enough evidence to get him into trouble. It would have been on public record. It would have gone to trial. But you left it so late. There is literally nothing.
It's kind of a false equivalency, but it's kind of like your house burned down in a fire in the 1980s. In 2010, you call the fire department and ask why aren't you here?
No, I get it. It is a false equivalence, but I do think that's a good comparison to make.
Well,
yes.
In terms of protect and serve, like they can't help you if you didn't tell us when it was important.
Yeah, I know that people don't trust the police, and many have their reasons, whether it be legitimate or from hearsay. But you really do have to trust them to do their job. I don't know much about the police where you live. Where I grew up, the police were on it, but that's changed over the years to the point where they're fucking useless. They'd much rather try and stick non-criminals in prison.
Where I come from, the police and the community are friends. They are brothers, they are fathers, they are mentors.
If only they were like that here. They used to be like that when I was a child. They got on really well. The police were part of the community. They'd come to your school with a massive briefcase full of different Class A drugs, and they'd tell you about them and show you, and you could hold them. It was like Mr. Mackey in South Park. The policeman would come in. This policeman was really nice. And be like, drugs are bad, okay? Don't smoke marijuana, okay? Now give a hoot, okay. Don't pollute. Also, don't pull your pants down. Don't squat over the urinal. Pull open your butt cheeks and squeeze out a huge chopping hot dog. Okay.
I need that voice. I need that so much. Somebody clip it and send it to me.
I remember when I first had a chance to do that in front of my nephew when he was having issues, and he was like a few months old, and he couldn't. We were doing fudge dragons and steamboat fudge dragons and steam burgers. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. It's one of the few accents. It's one of the few accents I'm comfortable with. The other one's really racist, but I'm not going to do it.
Accent it is.
Sorry, it's an attempt at Mr. Mackey.
Oh no, I know that, but I'm like, I don't even know what his accent is.
Like
the character itself.
I would love to.
Weird.
I would be so happy if that actually was a Colorado native accent.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that... So, because, yeah. Do you think that this will negatively impact on Kavanaugh's nomination?
No, I don't think so. I think people have... So, over this time that they have tried to push a lot of shit onto the Trump administration and what Trump does, at this point, everyone's mind is made up. If there are people who wish for Kavanaugh to have something wrong with him, they are jumping on this. They are saying he is a rapist, and that is the end of it. Yeah. Everyone else who's not that way is like, it sounds like a bunch of bullshit. And here we are. Like, that's just it. Like, this is bullshit, and what else do you want?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say to that, actually. As far as I was concerned, unless an investigation's opened up now, this is an absolute stall and waste of time. How often do they nominate Supreme Court justices?
Whenever one dies or retires.
Isn't one leaving soon as well?
Yes. So you had the late Justice Scalia, who had just passed away, who Brett is trying to fill the spot of. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg is likely to be the next one to leave because she is quite old herself, and she may retire early. Yeah,
that's what I'd heard. By the way, just quickly, just a chat. Tim P. about Captain Marvel. I did some digging, found out that even though Captain Marvel DC came before Marvel's Captain Marvel decided to copyright Captain Marvel, therefore DC had to change the name to Shazam. Because Marvel are spastics. Yeah. And I knew Ginsburg was retiring, I just couldn't remember if her name was actually Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Is it Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Yeah, because like
that's such a name though. You can't forget. I thought that was like from history, only to find out actually she's old enough to have probably been around the time of George Washington.
Is this one replacing Kennedy? Oh. Gorsuch, that's right. I forgot about him. Nothing happened for him, so everything was fine.
That's good for his record. I mean, with and certainly we'll talk about Trump a minute. I saw the Dow is up to a pretty big high at the moment. And,
highest it's been ever.
Yeah, and that for employment is great, and people are going to see that for the economy is great. Ginsburg is not retiring. Thank you for confirming that.
You don't know that.
You don't know. But I think it's
she may die before she retires, man. It happens.
Yeah, maybe. As far as the employment side goes, I think it's good. I mean, whether you like Trump or not, I don't give a shit. So yeah, that was a big topic.
Oh yeah, it was.
Okay. So yesterday, and I'm going to change the subject. I was watching LBC because Dominic Raab, the Brexit secretary, was on there. I'm not going to play any of that because, as I stated earlier, LBC are very trigger happy. I have tried every possible permutation to get around their copyright claiming for their videos and me using it under fair use to no avail, to a point where I've just given up. And he answered many questions from public members about the deal and the plan going forward. Now the plan is checkers. We know checkers won't work. We know this won't work at all. You've even got Donald Tusk declaring that the checkers plan won't work. And I'm going to link to Trups, the article. There are a few articles, but I'll only link the one for now. Where he talks about... There's a video for it, maybe. Ooh, let's see if this works.
Oh my.
At our EU
I love that his name is Donald Tusk. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm going to press play on the video. It's 1 minute 26 seconds long. I'll stop it every so often anyway, though. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
At our EU27 working lunch today, we had a good discussion on Brexit,
oh shit, I only changed tabs.
Which once again reconfirmed our full unity. Let me highlight 3 points. First, we reconfirmed that there will be no withdrawal agreement without a solid, operational and legally binding Irish backstop.
He wants, as far as the Irish backstop goes, that the plan that was put forward that has been rejected by us was that Northern Ireland would remain a part of the bloc, which may as well be a severing of the United Kingdom. Continuing.
And we continue to fully support Michel Barnier in his efforts to find such a model. Second, we agreed to have a joint political declaration that provides as much clarity as possible on the future relations.
Yeah, ones where we can't just vote in a new government and then go back on it.
Everybody shared the view that while
It's
there
quite
are
the voice he's
positive
got, isn't it?
elements,
Yeah, he has a good voice, actually. I like it.
But it's very, very heavily accented. I kind of enjoy listening to it. It's weird.
in the Chequers proposal, the suggested framework for economic cooperation will not work. Not least because it risks undermining the single market.
Yeah, this is basically now them saying that the Chequers plan won't work. There are other articles for this. Oh yeah, there was the Irish issue. France ripped up the summit plan. I don't know what this was about. Yeah, so I'll read from this. The spin from Downing Street had been that Theresa May's meeting with her Irish counterpart shortly after breakfast in the margins of an EU summit in Austria had been relatively warm, albeit frank. The dawning truth later that evening was that in a premiership littered with missteps, May made one of her worst errors of judgment as two leaders and their teams met in a private room in Salzburg's university. For weeks, the working assumption in Brussels had been that, on the Irish issue at least, a major step forward would be made by the next leaders' summit in October. But over the coffee, the Prime Minister dropped a bombshell. She did not believe it would be possible for the British government and Brussels to come to a solution by then. Yeah, that's concerning. Considering in the and I'm gonna go back now because fuck it. During the thing that Rob, the questions he was asked, some were, will the date be moved from March next year? He said no. If no deal was reached, would we be leaving the EU with a no deal? And he said yes. I have never seen a politician give such answers. I expected him to skirt around the issue. But he believes, well, did last night, believes that Theresa May could secure Chequers, the plan that was put forward. Unfortunately, this plan has been absolutely shat on by now literally everyone, to the point where another Tory revolt has cropped up, and it's quite concerning for the future of their party. I mean, it's a bit of a mess.
You know, for all the shit they give Donald Trump's administration, Theresa May has more of a fucking house fire than we do.
Yeah. Okay, so there's an analysis by a political editor down the BBC article where it says the EU clearly won't accept it as it stands, the Chequers plan. Significant chunks of her party won't wear the deal either. The opposition parties won't back her. Now, yes, a number of people, and it says here, there are tactics at play. Yes. But every idea put forward has come from the UK, not from the EU. And the EU has just rejected it. At this point, they are essentially the baby with their arms crossed going, la 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 la. No. That's them. There is no idea coming from them that will help resolve it. That doesn't involve them simply saying, yeah, fuck it, we're just going to have the border here. There is, interestingly, an image. I do actually want to go to this. It looks brilliant. Further down the article, where it shows the current steps to UK leaving the EU. So, June on 2016, UK voted to leave. The 29th of March, UK invoked Article 50, which was 9 months later, which was a bit of a fucking stretch. We go here, UK. Draft deal was put to the European Council. Needs approval of at least 20 countries and ratified by European Parliament. But then you got at the end here, negotiations can be extended further, but only if 27 countries agree, which, yeah. If a deal's agreed, a 2-year transition period until 2020 sees some EU rules remain, but the UK can negotiate its own trade deals. If no deal or extension to negotiations is agreed, EU treaties cease to apply and the UK leaves with no deal. It's that simple. I say simple, financially not so good. It is simple though, really. If there's no deal, then fuck it, there's no deal. Rob has made it quite clear and publicly said it. I mean, I could pull up the LBC thing, but they'll just claim it. I don't want to do that. This channel's not even monetized yet, and they'll fucking strike it down.
Yeah, but hey, those Streamlabs.
Yeah. Yes. That's.
Yeah, but
yeah.
that backlit though.
Right. Them Streamlabs though.
I miss Vine so much.
Oh, I do too. And actually, before we continue on this, I forgot about something. So last week we talked about Cory Booker. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Right, well, he made a push for the Kavanaugh vote to be delayed. But turns out, in 1992, he wrote an article, and in the article, he confessed that he did something. He fumbled upon the bed and, leg to stand.
He slipped.
He slipped. He had. I'll even pull it up so people can see it. The 1992 column for the Stanford Daily. I've got a quote here. New Year's Eve, 1984. I was 15. As the ball dropped, I leaned over to hug a friend, and she met me instead with an overwhelming kiss. Fumbled upon the bed. Debating my next move. Continued. Blah blah. Oh dear, poor Cory Booker. It's poor Spartacus. He just
Spartacus.
Baldicus. But yeah, with Brexit, it's gotten really fucking messy, and it's quite concerning now because at 1 minute there was something good going on, and now no. So I don't understand. It took 24 hours for Theresa May to utterly fuck it.
Yeah, that's exactly how bad things can get when you don't realize how much power that your government has been slowly taking away from the people.
The real problem is that, and Rob did confirm this, there would not be a second referendum. But now more and more politicians are calling for it because either they don't think we made the right decision, or because they want us to vote on the final deal. And Dominic Raab believed that he could get a deal through Parliament. The final deal wouldn't appease everyone to begin with, but it's a case of that would be it, or it would be a no-deal scenario. You'd have to do what's in your own best interests, or literally accept what was on the table.
You know the best way to get people to not vote for that new referendum?
Mm-hmm.
If Theresa May, who has already said, okay, there's not going to be a second referendum, and everyone calls for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If she calls it the final solution, no one will vote for it.
Yeah, no, you're right. If the second referendum is called for, I promise you this, the turnout wouldn't even be legal. It would be so low. It would be so low. It just wouldn't be legally counted as a vote.
I just don't think a lot of people would vote for something called the final solution.
Honestly, I think a final solution would be fantastic. I'll get the ovens ready. I think actually another thing of interest, if with the Irish border, and it's such a big deal, if we left with no deal, the EU would have to build a wall. Might I recommend talk to Donald Trump? He's an expert on them.
We're working on it. Actually, it is being built.
Yes. I'm really I don't really care so much about the no deal. I do care because obviously it's important to us to not have a deal. Sorry, but I don't care because we are putting forward all these ideas and they are just being shot down because all the EU wants is for us to obey them. They're not bending. They're not flexing. Oh, I feel like I'm describing a freaking Armstrong doll. I would argue in this instance, not fair is accurate because we're trying our hardest to come up with solutions and they're not giving us any legroom. And I've heard to Prosper. I saw the stream that Computing Forever Dave Cullen did with someone talking about maybe getting an Irish exit, but I see that as very unlikely. Ireland is I believe they were once bailed out by the EU because of their own fuck up. So I don't believe they honestly, Go on.
Angela Merkel has something to worry about in her own country right now. She should probably stop worrying about the EU.
She barely has a grasp on anything. I know she might fire one of her secretaries for not doing something, or for doing something he should not have done. I did see that, and I thought it was amusing. It's up there with amusing as Jeremy Corbyn being an Arsenal fan while simultaneously condemning them for taking over a sponsorship deal with an Israeli tour company.
Nah, bullshit. He likes Tottenham.
He's an Arsenal fan. Yeah, Tottenham used to have a. I was raised a Spurs fan, and Tottenham had.
My roommate in college was a Spurs fan.
Well, Tottenham fans. It used to be "Come on, you Yids." Yid is another thing for Jewish people, because White Hart Lane was a very Jewish area. Now it's considered anti-Semitic and banned, but yeah. Tottenham, it would be very ironic for Jeremy Corbyn to be a Spurs fan.
No, it's interesting because my roommate used to be from Philly, well, actually just Pennsylvania, and he used to live in Pittsburgh. So "Come on, you Yids" is actually a little bit closer to the dialect for the Pittsburghians, if you will, because instead of y'all, you all, they say yins.
Oh, you can't
like
say that here.
Y-I-N-Z.
That's like massive anti-Semitism.
Is it really?
Who knows? Might be.
But yeah, so I mean, that kind of comment is more. I don't know. It kind of just rolls with him.
Yeah. And to finish up on the Brexit thing, Yint. As far as the Brexit stuff goes, the no deal thing. If the EU is unwilling to come up with a solution, and we do, and they keep rejecting it, then yeah, we will leave with no deal, because they're not showing any willingness to work with us, even though they have given Michel Barnier all these new things to help him come with a better term or better deal. He's not showing any of it. We're not getting any of it. They want everything. They basically want us to remain apart, but they want to punish us at the same time. They can get fucked. And if Theresa May wants to spread her legs for Merkel or for Barnier, so be it. But do that on your own time, please, you old vapid cunt. Before I finish, is there anything you would like to shill before you leave?
Unfortunately, because work has been killing me, I haven't been able to upload, but I have 3 scripts going out.
Okay.
So it's either going to be put up Monday, and then I'll have like 2 or 3 videos next week.
That's cool.
Probably the most likely situation.
Well, if you're interested in listening to any of that, Trups' channel link is down below. I will link all the articles that we referenced today once this is finished. Yeah, so I think I'm going to end this here. Yeah, say goodnight, Trups.
Good night, Trups.
Good night, Trups.